Hi guys, this is Vineet and I welcome you to this video. Today's video topic is how you can specify the default values for any of the columns in SQL Server. Before we proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button, it will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. So I'm giving you 5 seconds, please go ahead and subscribe right away. I'm waiting. So guys, I hope you must have subscribed to my channel by now. So let's continue with today's topic, which is how you can specify the default values for columns in SQL Server. There are some points to remember while watching this video. So some of these points are, please watch this video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept. And if it is possible for you, please watch this video twice or as many times as you like until the concept gets clear to you. Perform any exercises in your test and lab environments only. Do not touch any production environment or production databases. And guys, we would like to know your thoughts regarding our videos, so please do share in your comments, feedbacks and suggestions. Let's go ahead. We have created some of the playlists for you to watch. The reason we have created playlists for you is because we feel that playlists are best way to learn about any particular domain or any particular area. For example, if you want to learn about the SQL Server database design area, what we would recommend is go to the SQL Server database design playlist and watch out all the videos from starting till the end. If we talk particularly about this video belongs to the SQL Server table category. Here we are talking about the tables and the default values in the columns. So the links for all these playlists are available in the video description area for this video. Some of the popular playlists are database design, tables, business continuity, SQL Server indexing, SQL Server performance tuning, SQL Server integration services, and Transact-SQL. So if we talk about the total number of videos posted on our channel, it's more than 250 at present, and number of videos are growing on a daily basis and a constant pace. My channel page link is given at the bottom of this page, and this is the URL for my channel page, and the link for my channel page is also given in the video description area. Now let's come back to today's topic, which is how you can specify the default values for columns in SQL Server. So this will be a mix of theoretical and demos, which are practicals. So today's video topic is how you can specify the default values for any of the columns in SQL Server. So you can use the SQL Server Management Studio to specify your default value that will be entered into a table column. So we can use SQL Server Management Studio, which is a tool which we use to write the queries. So using SQL Server Management Studio, you can write out queries to specify the default values that will be automatically inserted into table if none of the values are specified. And you can set a default by using the SQL Server Management Studio Object Explorer as well, or by executing the Transact-SQL. So there are two ways. Either you can use the Object Explorer in SQL Server Management Studio. Second way is you can use the Transact-SQL statement to do the same stuff. Now, if you do not assign a default value to the column and the user leaves the column blank, then following happens. If you set the option to allow null values, null will be inserted into the column, which is basically no value indicated by null. So if column allows null values and you don't specify any values while making entry for the record in the table, null will be automatically inserted in the column. And if we do not set the option to allow null values, so if we have restricted null for a particular column, the column will remain blank, so none of the values are inserted, even null values are also not inserted. The column simply remain blanks, but the user will not be able to save the row until they supply a valid value for that column. So this is the second option where nulls are not allowed for the column. So in this case, user has to supply a valid value, and until the user does not supply the valid value, he will not be able to insert that particular record in a table. Now let's talk about some of the restrictions. And before we begin, be aware of the following limitations and restrictions. If your entry in the default value field replaces a bound default, you will be prompted to unbind the default and replace it with your new default. So if we are replacing a already defined default value with another default value, you will be prompted to unbind the existing default value and replace it with your new default values. And if you want to enter a text string, enclose the value in the single quotation marks. Do not use double quotation marks by any chance for any text entries. We only use the single quotation marks because they are reserved for quoted identifiers. So we will talk about the quoted identifiers later. But yeah, for entering any strings, you use single quotation marks. And to enter a numeric default value, enter the number without the quotation marks around it. So I'm talking about these points in relation to the default value you specify. Later on, we will show you how you can do that. So for numeric value, no quotation marks are required, and for textual values or text strings, we need single quotes. And basically, to enter an object function, enter the name of the object function without quotation marks around it. So if you want to use the function, any particular function, to supply the default value, just enter the name of the function without any quotation marks around it. Now let's cover two demos. In first demo, we will show you how to use the SQL Server Management Studio specify a default. In the second demo, we will show you how to use the Transact-SQL to specify the default values for a column in a table in SQL Server. So let me take you to SQL Server, and here we will use SQL Server to specify a default, and we can use the Object Explorer in SQL Server, which is already open on the left hand side if you see, to specify a default value for table column. And in order to do that, what you can do is you can follow the following steps. So first of all, we need to connect to the instance of the SQL Server which we are already connected. Otherwise, you get this box. You can click on connect button to connect to the instance of your SQL Server. Now in the Object Explorer, you need to right click on the table with columns for which you want to change the scale of the default values and select design. So for example, let's take a look at the MyDB database. So it has some tables. So yeah, let's take this table. It has a single column t1 underscore txt, and it is using n varchar max, which can be used to hold strings, and it is allowing null values if nothing is passed, or if the default value is not specified, null will be taken for the columns. But here we will specify the default value. So let's see. So what you need to do here is you need to right click on that particular table for which you want to specify the default value for one of its columns. So here the table name is t1 under the MyDB database. You can choose any other table. Sample databases, you can use a table from many of the sample databases like MyAdventureWorks, etc. Here I've used one of the DBs and the tables created earlier. It has a single column. So if we select the data from this table, it does not have any data at present. You need to right click on the table with columns for which you want to change the scale and the design, and you need to go to the under the design view. Once you open the design view here by selecting design, here you can specify the default values, right? So let me show you how you can do that. So we have already selected the column. It has only a single column t1 underscore text for which a default value can be specified. So this column is already selected. You can select it like this as well by clicking on the arrow button. Now once you select that particular row, you will see column properties at the bottom of this window. So in the column properties tab, enter the new default value in the default value or binding property. Let's see if we have something like binding or default values. So we have this default value or binding. Under this we can specify the default value. So the data type for this column is nvarchar, which is used to hold the string. So let me specify a default string value. Let me specify my name over here, and strings need to be specified under single quote, so I have specified that. So I have done that, and after you've done that, we are not entering any numerical values because we only have a single column which can contain only character values. So we are done, and Once you make the changes here, just click on the file menu, and you need to click on the save table name, which is save t1 in our case. So let's save that table, and we can close this after that. So this is how you specify the default value for a particular column using the Object Explorer in SQL Server Management Studio. Let me close that. Let me show you now how you can use the Transact-SQL to specify a default value. So we can use the alter table statement. So let's try to alter this table. Earlier I specified my name as the default value. Now let's try to change it. So you need to trigger a new query against this table. So you can select the table and click on new query, so that the query can be open against that particular database. So we are working with MyDB over here. You can choose any of your DBs and any of your tables. Make sure you're not playing with the production databases. Database should be sample databases or non-production, or a database on a non-production system, which is not useful for you. Now let's add in some code. So here what we are doing, we are not working with T1 table. We will create a new table under MyDB. So in order to create a table, type the code create table. Okay, so once you write the create table statement, you need to specify the table name. In this case, we are making a table under the DBO schema, dbo.doc underscore exe. Or maybe ABC. Let's create this table, doc underscore ABC, and let's define the table structure. So it will contain column A, column underscore A, and this will be an integer type column. This is allowing null if we don't specify it specifically that the column shouldn't allow nulls. Column allows nulls. Alright, and let's specify a new column. So the new column name should be column B. Let's specify column B, and this will also be an integer type column. So two columns, both can accept nulls. We have specified this, so let's create this table quickly. Let me execute this statement. So a table is created here under MyDB, and let's refresh the table section. We will see our table over here. So our table name is doc underscore ABC. Now this table is empty at present, so let's try to insert some values into it. So in order to insert the values, you can write the insert into statement, and after specifying the insert into statement, you specify the table name in which you want to insert. So our table name is doc underscore ABC, and then you need to specify the column under which you want to insert the value. So I want to insert the value under column A, so I'm specifying that. After that, you need to specify the value that have to be inserted. So use the value statement, values keyword, and as the column can accept the integer values, let me specify an integer value for it. So we can specify that in bracket. So let's put a semicolon to end the statement. So this will insert value 7 into column A. So let's try to execute it, and let's write a select statement to see what is inside the table. So table name is dbo.doc.abc. Let's try to execute the statement. So the table has a single row. Under column A we have value 7, and for column B we have null value. Now let's try to alter the table and specify the default values for a particular column. So in order to alter a table, you can issue an alter table statement and specify the name of the table dbo.doc.abc. In this case, we are altering a table, and basically we are adding a default constant. So you can use add constant statement. You need to make sure that spelling are correct. So add constant statement you need to specify, and after that you need to specify the name of this constant. So let's take df and let's give some meaningful name. So let's give the table name maybe, so doc abc, maybe column A. So by df I mean the default value. I'm taking this as the name of the constant, and after that you need to specify it as default constant. You can write that in a same statement, or you can add this clause on the next statement as well. So specify default clause, and the default value for column A should be 50. So after you specify default and the value, you need to specify the column name for which you are making this. So here let's take it for column B. So far B was accepting the null value if we don't specify anything. So we are adding a constant which is a default constant, and constant name is this. We are specifying value 50. If nothing is specified, 50 will be inserted into column B. If we don't specify any specific value for column B, 50 will be inserted automatically. So you need to specify after the default keyword the value which you want to insert, and you need to specify for which column you are specifying. So you can specify that with for clause, and you can specify the column B. For column B, we are specifying in a table. So this is done, and yep, we can put go over here. And go is not required. You can even execute these 3 lines. That will also work. So let's execute this bunch or batch of statements. So a constraint is now added to the table. Table is dbo.abc, and a default constraint added to column B, where the default value will be 50 if we insert record, and if we do not specify any values for column B. So this is how you add a default constraint, right? Let's select the table. So let's try to insert a new record into this table. Let's try to insert value 8 into column A. For column B, I'm not specifying anything, so it should take 50 as the default value. So let's try to insert this statement. For first row, it will not do anything, but for any of the rows going forward, it will take default values as 50 if we do not specify anything for the column B. Let's insert this record. So there are 2 records now in this table. The second record will show value 50 for column B because we haven't specified anything in this insertion statement for column B. Let's execute this statement. So here you see we specify 8 for column A, and for column B we haven't specified anything, so it has taken 50 as the default value because it created a default constraint on column B of this table. So that's why this 50 value came up here. Another way we can specify a default constraint is while creating the table. So let me create a new table and show you how you can do that. So let's do a create table statement. Let's create a table dbo.docxyz, this is the table name. Let's define the table structure. So while defining the table structure, you can also specify the, let's say column A as int, and let's take column B as integer type. And after that, you can specify the default values for this column. So you can specify the default keyword and specify the value which should be taken as default values for this column in case nothing is specified. And put a semicolon after that. And if you create this table, this is created. And if you try to insert into this table dbo.xyz and values, specify column. So let's specify column A. We are not inserting anything into column B, so it should take default value of 50. So insert into this table column A values maybe 9. The 9 should be given in bracket. I'll specify brackets over here and try to insert this statement. And let's try to select the row from this table dbo.xyz doc.xyz. Now if we execute this statement, we will see the value 9 in the column A and 50 in the column B due to default constraint, as we had not specified any columns for values for column B while doing the insertion. So you see here for column A we have specified the 9 value which is coming here. Column B has automatically taken 50 value due to the presence of default constraint, and we also haven't specified anything while doing the insertion for column B, so it has automatically taken the default value of 50. So this was the second way to define the default constraint while creating the table. Later on, if you want to add the constraint, you need to use the alter table statement, and you can specify the add constraint clause and specify the name of the constraint with the default value for a particular column. This is one way, and this one is another way. While creating the table structure, you can also specify the default keyword and the default value. In this code sample, we have just specified the default keyword, and we have not specified the name of the default constant over here. You can also specify the name of the constant here if you want. What you can do is, you can, after the default statement, you can write the name of the default constant. So you can specify like this as well. That is also fine. And basically, instead of default keyword, you need to specify constraint. The syntax is little bit different. You need to specify the constraint keyword along with the name of the constant, and after that you can specify the default value for this constant. And this can also be done. However, I'm not executing it because table is already exist and it will not allow me to create a table with the same name. Though we can change the table name, and let me show you. You can do that. So let's change little bit of names here. So if I execute it now, it will allow me to create this table with this default constant. Here we have a named constant. Third way is to use the name constants for defining the defaults for any columns. So this is also done. So guys, I'm done with this video. I hope you like the content of this video, specifically the theoretical content and the practicals as well. So practicals we have covered is, we have shown you how to use the SQL Server Management Studio, specifically the Object Explorer Design View, to specify the default constant, and how you can use the Transact-SQL to specify any default constant. I have shown you both the ways. In Transact-SQL as well, I have shown you 3 ways to specify the default constant. First one is to, if your table already exists, you can alter that table and add the constant using this statement. And second way is, you can specify the default keyword while creating the table. And the third way is, you can use the name constant statement while creating the table. So these 3 are the ways. Thank you so much for your time on this video today, guys. If you really like this video, please click on the like button below this video, and also guys, subscribe to my channel if you want to watch the content that is similar and in various different areas. I have lots of videos posted on my channel, so please go ahead and subscribe. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. And also guys, do post in your comments, feedback and suggestions. We would love to hear from you. And guys, if you have good network of friends, please ask them to watch my videos if they work in the SQL Server domain, and also ask them to subscribe to my channel. This is the help I require from you, and I thank you so much for your time in this video today, and you have a wonderful day ahead, guys. Thank you.